Hello Internet, Gino, aka That Pinguino, here again with another deep look. This time I'm going to be taking a look at Final Fantasy IX and the awesome world map in this game. Reasons twofold. One, Final Fantasy IX is my favorite game of all time. Its world map is up there with Final Fantasy VIII's. I've already done a video on FF8, check that out if you want to. And two, people seem to really like the FF8 video. So I figured I'd take another look at a game with a world map full of awesome secrets. So you can't really talk about Final Fantasy IX's world map without really discussing the Chocobo side quest. Once you get a Chocobo in this game, it unlocks a whole bunch of stuff on your world map. You can start going up mountains, you can start going into the ocean. You pretty much get wherever you want once you have a Chocobo and upgrade it to the right level. And you do that through the Chocobo side quest. You play a little game at 3 Chocobo locations: Chocobos Forest, Chocobos Lagoon, and Chocobos Aerogarden, where you find treasures. And once you find treasures, they can sometimes be items, and sometimes they are chocographs, which are these cool little, I call them treasure maps. They're treasure maps that all exist on the world map for you to find and find treasures by digging. Some of them will upgrade your Chocobo, some of them will just be really good items. Right now I've got Outer Island 2 equipped. They'll give you a hint picture and a verbal hint. So here, I think there's a desert nearby Kupo. So I happen to be right by a desert. So I'm going to fly over there. And there's a little outer island here. And if you look at it from afar, here's the desert. Most of these pictures happen before mist and stuff. I'm on disc 4, so there's mist all over the place. But you can land over here, and you can dig. If you're not anywhere near the treasure, your Chocobo will say Quet. If you get a little closer, it'll be Quet! Exclamation point. And if you're right on top of it, your Chocobo will freak out and dig up a treasure chest. In here, I've got 11 Sapphire, 1 Circlet, 1 Pumice Piece, 1 Hildegard 3 card. And on this save, I've got maxed out every item. I found this save online because I couldn't find my disc 4 saves. So I didn't get to keep any of those, but if this was a fresh game, finding a Pumice Piece, finding a Circlet, those are really, really powerful items that you kind of need in the late game. So that would be a real game changer. And every single one of those treasure chests, almost all of them, have great game changer items that are worth finding. On top of just finding those treasure chests based on chocographs, you can also find things like this bubbly water here. Now, once your Chocobo can run in the ocean, you can feed them this thing called a dead pepper, which they love, or hate. I mean, it makes them freak out and do cool stuff. So, I love it. Choco, I think, might not. And you can find treasure on the bottom of the ocean. They'll dive down. Here, I found 8 straw hats, 8 pearl armlets, 7 aloha t-shirts, and 8 sandals. So, in this case, the treasure was a perfect kit for all my party members to go and have an amazing vacation in the Caribbean. Unfortunately, one person is going to be out a t-shirt. So, you can actually find the missing t-shirt another way in the game. I can't remember how you find it, but don't worry. Your entire party can go on the Caribbean vacation. Or Mist Continent vacation? Outer Continent vacation? Something Final Fantasy IX related, I don't know. They're kind of goofy items, but a lot of the items you find buried underwater. You can find Zidaine's ultimate weapon. You can find some other cool final weapons and final armors. Another thing you can do with dead peppers is you can have Choco drill when you feed a dead pepper on land. It'll drill into the side of mountains, and if you see a crack, it'll crumple up, and there'll either be a treasure inside or a secret location. In this case, it is one of the few secret locations in the game. This one is called Chocobos Paradise. I don't know how Chocobos managed to build a gigantic temple in the side of a mountain that also has a blue sky and masterfully created waterfalls, but look, I guess you don't need opposable thumbs or hands. Chocobos find a way. Love finds a way. Fly up here. I need to talk to my buddy Chubby Chocobo, who won't let me leave unless I talk to him. Fat Chocobo. Okay. I guess he used to be chubby, I guess he just kept eating. Now he's just fat. I miss when he was Chubby Chocobo. It was a lot cuter name, but to be fair, in like Chocobo Racing, the kart game, he's not quite as big. And he doesn't have a dope crown, so I guess life is going up for him. If you find all of the items hidden on the world, you can bring Choco here and you'll get a nice conclusion to the Chocobo side quest. I don't have quite everything yet, so Fat Chocobo lets me kind of leave with my Chocobo. You can also talk to all of the Chocobos here, so this location isn't just cool for looking at, and they will give you hints on where other items can be found. Like here, the western side of the mountain on Seaway's Canyon on the Forgotten Continent also has a crack in it, but it's very hard to find. Every one of the Chocobos here will tell you about one location where there are bubbles or cracks in mountains, and so they're really good. You'll probably want to find this first if it's your first time doing the Chocobo side quest, because they'll give you a bunch of hints. And then after that, your sequential plays will be a lot easier. Let's try and find Chocobos Aerogarden. Is that? Yep. Chocobos Aerogarden is another really cool location. It's the last Chocobo hot and cold location, but it also happens to be the place where the hardest boss in the game lives. It's an optional boss named Ozma, and it is pretty much the emerald weapon of Final Fantasy IX, except Final Fantasy IX doesn't have as many really cheaty ways to kill enemies. There's no Knights of the Round here, and there's no lucky sevens and crazy stuff. Though to be fair, there's no timer for killing Ozma. Emerald Weapon, Ozma, both really hard. Both some of the hardest optional bosses in any game in the Final Fantasy series. And if you want to find it, it's up here on this floating garden. And the boss is over here in this pile of rocks. I'm not going to fight it, because I've got more cool stuff to show you. Go back down to Earth, or Gaia, which means Earth. I'm going to fly to another cool location. Something worth mentioning about the Chocobo, beyond just letting you find all the cool stuff on the world map, is you can't run into random encounters when you're on Chocobo back. So as long as you're exploring with a Chocobo, you're fine. You can explore to your heart's content. You'll never run into a battle. You'll never have to worry about most of that JRPG stuff that will stop you from being on a world map. Like FF8 lets you turn off encounters, FF9 just gives you a Chocobo that you can summon pretty much all the time. And so another cool location is over here. There is a dungeon called Gizmos Grotto that you'll find about midway. You'll have to pass through midway through Disc 1. And it actually has a secret exit to this top plateau. Once you find this Moogle family behind a bell, there's this vine on the wall. And if you pull on that vine and climb up it, they'll usually tell you, yep, it's dangerous outside, don't go out there. If you go out here, some of the hardest enemies in the game happen to live right outside that Moogle family's house. Now, I never go up there because they murder me dead every single time. But if you're a speedrunner or someone who really wants to grind in this game, killing the dragons and stuff that live out here is a great way to grind levels. And it's another little secret that you can find. What's really unique about Final Fantasy IX's world map is most games with cool world maps like FF8 and stuff like that, even though they're really cool world maps, really the world map is just hiding a bunch of dungeons. It's certainly cool to explore, but really the interesting stuff is once you get off the world map. The world map's just kind of an intermediary between you and the coolness. In FF9, it's really treasure hunting and exploring every nook and cranny of the map itself that's exciting. It's finding all these different chocographs and stuff like that, and seeing all the cool secrets. I'm trying to find, where's Treno? Alexandria Harbor. Okay. Trying to find another secret. So finding all the cool stuff, all the cracks and all the treasure chests and all that stuff, that's what's actually exciting about Final Fantasy IX. World map's not just a place where you run into random monsters and get frustrated because there's too many random monsters. So this is not particularly hard to find. You'll probably end up here about midway through Disc 2, but Quan's Dwelling is worth seeing. It's where Vivi Vivi's uncle or grandpa. Vivi's adopted dad lives. It's where, or lived. It's where Vivi used to live before the start of Final Fantasy IX. You don't have to come here. There's a item here called Stellazo. It's a side quest. You find a bunch of coins with horoscope signs on them. And also, if you have a Chocobo, there is a secret kind of bubble. There's some bubbles where you can find items. You have to kind of swan dive off the edge of this mountain. It looks like whoever played this game before me, whoever's save I'm using, happened to already get it. But it took me a while to figure out that I had to jump off of Quan's dwelling to actually get that secret item stash, so I figured I'd mention it. You get Garnet and Eco's best racket weapon by jumping off of that, doing a swan dive on a Chocobo, not a swan. So even though it looks like you should just be able to use a dead pepper, you actually have to go into Quan's dwelling first. And one last cool hidden location I'm going to show you is Magnet Central. It is where the Moogle side quest comes to its close. Every Moogle in this game will try to give you mail or try to ask you to take mail for them. You become a Moogle postman, pretty much. And towards the end of the game, you find out that something's gone horribly wrong with the Moogle postal system. And no one ever tells you where the Moogle post office is, but you could find it if you have a Chocobo by flying to this gigantic island to the north. And, whoops, land. And there's this crack in the wall. And if you go ahead and feed your Chocobo a dead pepper, do your jackhammer routine again, and it opens a hole. And inside is the worst run post office in all of Gaia. Magnet Central. The grown-up Moogles don't know what to do because the equipment's broken. Their equipment's broken. You need to find a way to fix their problem. You get a pretty decent item if you solve the Magnet Central side quest. But all of it, again, ties into the Chocobo side quest. The Chocobo side quest really is the connective tissue for all of the side quests in this game. Now, there's some other stuff I'm not going to show off, like there are friendly monsters you can run into. There's a monster called the Ragtime Mouse who will ask you yes or no questions, and if you get them right, he'll give you items and stuff. But I don't want to chase for random battles and stuff. But really, this game's world map is really, really cool. It's cool that you can run all over it, that there's just treasure everywhere. And also, by making the world map full of treasure, these two continents over here, one's the Lost Continent, one's the Forgotten Continent, I forget which one's which. They really only have like one or two locations that you ever would want to visit. Here you've got Estogaza, the story takes you there once. You've got Ibsen's Castle, Olivert, but really there's not a lot of stuff that you would want to check out on these two continents. You don't spend a lot of time here in the story, but because you have all of these Chocobos, you know, all these chocographs and stuff, and hidden cracks to find, it gives you a good reason to check out these continents that otherwise don't really have a purpose, don't have that much story weight. And it really encourages you to know every nook and cranny of this world. Doing the Chocobo side quest in this game is pretty much one of the only things that I really, for as much time as you have to invest in doing it, I still enjoy it. A lot of the time when I replay games like this that take like 40 hours, I want to cut out as much time as I can, but the Chocobo side quest is one of the few side quests that I really feel like I need to do every single time, because even though pixel hunting through all these different places can be a little tedious, it's so fun to find this world full of secrets that just a close eye and a little bit of time you can find. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know, and I'll make another, maybe I'll take a look at FF7's world map or something like that. Here's another crack. Oh, looks like someone already got that one. Well, hope you enjoyed this video. FF9's world map sure is dope. Peace!